And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. We are talking a little post game to the Washington Commanders versus the Chicago Bears. The Washington Commanders win the game 18-15, and they win it in dramatic form with a Hail Mary pass to go ahead and win this. I thought it would be appropriate to go ahead and show the video, but this was incredible from Jaden Daniels. You know, we had been talking about him throughout the week if he was going to play, and he went out there and he gutted it out, and he in fact played. And I think that this play is called Hail Maryland because look at this throw here. It gets tipped and it falls into the hands of Noah Brown. And that is how the Washington Commanders would win against the Chicago Bears 18-15. And it looked like the Washington Commanders were headed towards a loss, especially since the Chicago Bears had scored with about 25 seconds left to go in the game. But Jaden Daniels calmly goes ahead, gets a nice pass completed to put him into position for this Hail Mary pass. And that is what you see, the end results where the Washington Commanders come back and win this game 18-15. And so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the stats of this game. We had been talking about some keys to the game, and I know we've been talking also about Jaden Daniels and if he was going to play, because that was really the storyline to this game. You had the number 1 pick in the draft versus the number 2 pick in the draft, and obviously we know that Jaden Daniels, he's been incredible this season, and I think Caleb Williams, in his respect, has been pretty good for the Bears as well. But, I thought that this was a great showdown between these two quarterbacks. And with Jaden Daniels, 21 of 38 today, 326 yards. You saw 52 of them there on that last play for that Hail Mary, the one touchdown that counted. He did get sacked twice. But I loved his composure here to take the Washington Commanders down and get what they needed. So that was a good plus to start off with. And then look at what he did as far as running the football. 8 carries, 52 yards. This was a great sign for the Washington Commanders because I was wanting to see where they're going to limit some of the packages that they had been running where he had been a runner. And so this was a great sign to see him carry the football 8 times for 52 yards and get it going there. Brian Robinson Jr., 65 yards on the ground, 16 carries, 7 carries, 52 yards for Austin Eckler. We had 32 combined carries. And so I know nobody really had a huge day for the Commanders, but I like the fact that unlike what we did against the Ravens, we continue to pound on this tough Chicago Bears defense. And I think that our defense really played well as well. So really keeping us in it. But I loved what we tried to do and maybe kind of establishing some tempo here against a tough defense. And we knew that they were going to get Jaden Daniels, and we knew it was going to be tough to get it down the field. But I thought that this was a great job to stay with that identity and running the football. Next up, just looking at the receiving core, I have got to give credit to Terry McLaurin. If you would have told me he was going to have 5 receptions for 125 yards in this game, I wouldn't think so, because the way that Jalen Johnson had been defending wide receiver ones out there, I mean, he is pretty much erasing wide receiver one. So for him to get 5 receptions, 125 yards, I thought that that was key for the Commanders today. And then I talked about Zach Ertz and Noah Brown. I thought that they were really going to be the X factors in this game because the coverage was going to be so good against Terry McLaurin. And Zach Ertz coming through with the 7 receptions, 77 yards in this one. Noah Brown, you saw 50 of his 73 yards, or 52 of his 73 yards, on that Hail Mary, and a touchdown as well. So coming through at the end. And so, the players that I thought would possibly be big besides Terry McLaurin, they came up big. Defensively, got to give a lot of credit out there to what the secondary was able to do. I think that they really made it tough on Caleb Williams for the most part today. Loved what Quan Martin did as far as going out there and tackling. Got to give a shout out as well to Mike Sandra still going out there being physical again. I think that he's getting better just each week out there, really showing why the Commanders went out and got him in the draft. And then Johnny Newton, I think he got his first fumble recovery in this one. He also had 3 total tackles as well. So he got a huge fumble there to stop the Bears from going in for a score. And so, look, we had some good defensive performances. This is the first time that we've held a team to 15 points. And I think that this defense is starting to heat up. It's something about this defense now, just like our offense after week one. I guess that we've just started off slow, and I think it's just getting hot. So I like the way this defense is getting it done. Defensively, look at what they were able to do to Caleb Williams. I talked about him having an average of 6.8 yards a carry. They keep him down to 4.1, even though he did have 41 yards on the day. So that was pretty good to hold Caleb Williams there. DeAndre Swift did get loose. He had been heating up over the last couple of weeks. I talked about how the Bears have really been struggling to run the football. So DeAndre Swift did break off, I think, like a 56-yarder or something like that, and got a touchdown today. So that was a little discouraging. But still, I think that they went ahead and they contained everything else. And I liked what they did with Caleb Williams. He was only 10 of 24 today, 131 yards. So really didn't let him get the big play. Got him down with 2 sacks there, making sure that we were staying disciplined in our rushing lanes and making sure that we were sticky on coverages there. They didn't have a lot of opportunities to exploit the secondary. This is like one of the first games I think I can remember this season where there wasn't one big like wide receiver performance in this one, other than I think the Carolina Panthers game. But still, with these talented wide receivers coming in like Keenan Allen, who certainly, he's been a Pro Bowler, maybe a Hall of Famer. DJ Moore, he's had done some things in this league. And so also too, Cole Kmet with what he had been doing, even though he had scored, but still we had pretty much contained what they had on the outside with all these wide receivers and kind of the special things that they can do out there. So just all around, it was a great win for the Washington Commanders. And this is the type of win that good teams have to have. And I think that when you get later on in the year, when you get into the playoff situations, which, I know we're not anywhere, near there yet, because a lot of people had us pick for just about 6.5 wins. And so, we're going into this thing, and I think that we can go ahead and get that 7th win next week against the Giants. We'll talk about that one. But the Commanders are certainly trending up, and it's starting to look good. And I think if they do make a deep run, this is the type of win that the Commanders can go back and really hang their hat on and say, hey, we can get games and we can pull these things out the mud. It's not going to necessarily be the prettiest games. We don't have to put up the 31 points and we can still get it done. This is what the team needs. And I love the fact that the Washington Commanders continue to get an identity. This is something that the Commanders have not had in quite some time. I can tell you that just being a fan of this team. So super excited about this. Glad to see Jaden Daniels is back out there. Hopefully, he can get even better from this rib injury and certainly get back a little bit more to himself. So let me know in the comments what you think about this last win by the Commanders. I think that this was probably the game of the day if you were watching any of these NFL games. And so, look, we'll be talking a little bit more about the Commanders and the key takeaways as we get ready for the Giants coming up this week. Man, what more can I say, man? Go Commanders. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.